go live. And now we should be live on YouTube. Be More Busker says, I miss Jelena. Well, here she is.
Here I am, Jim. Hey.
Here we are. I haven't started. Let's see. I put up the banner that says real show starts in a few minutes. And then I'll start recording the podcast so people don't miss out on any content. Hello, podcast. I started recording early just for you today so that you don't miss out on anything. Jelena's here joining me for this podcast.
Hey, podcast.
Hey, what's up? And we're also live on YouTube once again, and DLive and Rockfin. Oh, and I haven't set up a buymeacoffee.com yet. You have one of those, right?
I do. I have buymeacoffee.com/justjelena. Thank you, everyone who's been kind enough to stop over there.
I got to set that up. What's the minimum donation on Buy Me a Coffee? Is it $5 or something?
Yeah, each coffee is $5.
So you have to buy in increments of 5, huh?
Right.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah, that's good. See, the trouble with Rockfin is like their tipping is the diamond, which is what people tip, is like $1 or something, $1.20, and then they take 30% or something, and then they don't have another increment until $12, and nobody wants to donate $12. So that's good. Buy me a coffee. That would get me I get a nitro cold brew. It costs $5.25.
Oof.
Yeah, but I don't buy it every day.
What size is that?
Grande.
Which
I get it at 16 ounces, I believe.
Okay.
I believe it's 16 ounces with no ice. Nitro cold brew.
No ice.
Yeah. It's excellent. Very high in caffeine. And it'll last. So I drink that over a couple days.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. So it's expensive, but I only get one every other day.
I drink Starbucks really slow, but that's because it's awful and I can't drink it fast.
Yeah. I shouldn't drink Starbucks, but I like their nitro cold brew. It's okay. It's not bad, really. And I would definitely get it in Russia from Stars Coffee.
We should get sponsored by them.
It'd be cool if like the union. It would be funny if the union Starbucks that they're closing down because the union's formed, if they turned them into Stars Coffees, you know, and made them like what do you call it? What do you call them? Co-op. You turn it into like a coffee cooperative,
right?
Yeah, and they call it Stars Coffee and just take all the equipment from Starbucks and stuff.
One day we might be getting closer to that reality one day.
Let's see how pro-union this government really is. If they'll just confiscate corporations' stuff so that union shops can run it. Yeah.
What government even, though? I don't even know what government we have anymore.
Yes, you'd think the government is falling apart. Okay, well, hey, everybody. What's up on YouTube? Someone says, why is the title redacted? It's not redacted. You can read it, right? It says redacted. Oh, he's saying, why is that the title?
Yes.
Well, because of the FBI thing. What else are we going to call it? This is an experimental show. So we have titles that are just different. You know, yesterday we talked about Moloch. Today we're talking about the FBI documents, and we're talking about other things too. We're going to talk about why it's hard to wake up your friends. We're going to talk about reality. We might talk about Jerome Powell. I don't know. Do you want to talk about Jerome Powell?
I don't even remember who that is.
Really?
Yeah. Which one's that?
Yeah, you're
Which
out of
stooge?
touch. He's the one that runs the Federal Reserve.
Oh, okay.
Jerome Powell, the hero. You know, he was the hero after COVID because he printed all the money.
Is he black?
Just because his name's Jerome?
Yes. Well, Powell too.
Oh, really?
Like, is he a Powell?
Racist.
There's Powells in power, you know. That's a thing.
Really?
Yeah, Colin Powell's son ran like the CD communications
there
thing.
was Colin Powell and then Jerome. Right. Interesting. Huh. Well, maybe. I didn't even think about it that way. He really does like change things. He said something the other day, just yesterday. Was yesterday Friday?
Yes.
He said something yesterday that made the stock market collapse. It wiped out $1.2 trillion in value from the stock market in one day.
Just because he said something?
Just, yeah, pretty much. Mm-hmm.
What did he say?
He just said, he kind of said, I removed the banner, so now the official show has started. He said that inflation is serious and he wants to do something about it. That's basically it, which everybody already knew, I guess. But people were expecting that the Fed was going to what they call pivot and change from their current policy, which is trying to put the brakes on the economy, you know? And people thought they were going to change from that policy. And from what Jerome Powell said on Friday, they're not going to change. So everybody panicked and sold everything. And Bitcoin's back down to 20K. So you were right. Well, the people who said it was going to go back down were correct. I thought it was going to keep going up, but I was wrong. So now it's back down around 20K, and then the stock market just got slammed. And it might be there, that might continue. So we had like a relief rally in the stock market. Things were going up for a while, and now we're headed back down again. And then the housing market is looking really, really bad.
Oh, no.
Also, yeah. Well, that's all right. We don't own houses, right? You and me?
Not yet.
Yeah. So that's all right. Prices are going to have to go down. That's the way it goes. So that's going to happen. And then stock market's going to go down. And then maybe Bitcoin is going down further. So maybe we're heading into this economic depression, which I talked about.
You have been saying it's coming.
Yeah, it is coming. So, but it takes time for things to develop. People are still spending money right now.
Are you spending money on things? What's your money situation like?
Well, I had a job. So I was like, great, I have a job. So yeah, I bought some stuff. I bought myself some new jeans because the jeans I was wearing, the pockets had holes in them and they were falling apart. So I couldn't hold anything in my pockets anymore. So I got a pair of new jeans. So that was cool. That was a splurge. Yeah, they've been going out stuff, but it was because I had a job. And yes, the update for people keeping track of these things. Yeah, I quit the job, but I applied for another job with the same company.
Why did you quit?
Because I don't like making cold calls.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I thought I might be able to do it. I tried it. I went through training for it. I'm good at like the sales process and stuff. No problem. But I just don't like doing it. I just don't like doing cold calls. So I'm looking for a job taking incoming calls or dealing with what they call warm leads rather than cold calls. Couldn't deal with it. Some people can. It turns out I can't. That's all. So I can't beat myself up too bad. But people, including you, said I would just stick with it.
Yeah. But, that's like the typical week 1, week 2 advice you give someone at a new job. I didn't know to what extent it was really degrading your soul.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because if you think about it objectively, it's not really a big deal. Just calling people all day who don't want to talk to you. Like, if it doesn't hurt your feelings and stuff, all you have to do is just call people and annoy them and not have that bother you.
Yeah.
Maybe it shouldn't be like a big deal, but for some reason it bothered me.
I mean, it's valid, energy is a real thing. And if your job is to annoy people who are not expecting your call, that'll take a toll on anyone who's kind of conscious at all. So
I guess I don't want to say that the other people are unconscious or that they don't have regular feelings or anything, or that they're not good people, the people who are able to do it.
Well, the people who are able to do it are probably people who don't have the option of saying, I can't do it and leaving. Like I've been in jobs like that before that were so terrible. And I'm like, I don't know how the fuck I'm going to be able to do this, but I had to do it. So I did it.
Right.
And you turn off that part of your soul that's degraded by the process as much as you can and hope that you get out in time.
I did try for a few days. I was like, I kept trying. Like I was done on the first day was really bad, and then I kind of got over it. And then like the third day was really, really bad. Yeah, I couldn't even get through the day basically. And then I tried for another 3 days, and it was bad every day. And every day I was like, so there was no way I couldn't perform well with that kind of attitude and stuff. So hopefully I can still get a job though, taking incoming calls or handling warm leads. I can do that.
Cheers to that.
Yeah.
Good
How about
luck.
you? You have a job situation too, right?
I was exploring the possibility of leaving my current situation, mostly just LARPing it out. Like, what would it look like to go get like an in-person job doing something? And I just can't do that.
You can't do an in-person job.
Not at this point in my life. Like, and I have conflicted feelings about it, because on one hand, I feel like the whole remote worker, work from home thing is kind of a trap. Like, they want us to be at home in our apartments or in our houses alone so we can get into the metaverse easier. But on the other hand, like, the physical exhaustion of having to go to a place every day, like, I remember that, and I can't do that again. It's too much. There's too much that you can't do anymore when you have to go to a daily thing. And I'm sorry for everyone who's still going to those things. If you can handle it, that's great. I applaud you. If you love it, if you love what you do, that's awesome. I don't know how that could happen for me again. It's too much.
Yeah, working from home is cool. That's like the reason that I think I can do it. Like I can work on the phones from home. It's cool. Working from home is cool. It makes that kind of work, easier. So,
yeah.
So I'll be doing it again, basically. So I'm applying for jobs every day.
And so many jobs now are like remote only or remote first. So
yeah, it's cool. It's it's interesting. You get your video conferences where everybody's doing their thing, and then people start dancing on video conferences, and people do funny things. And I didn't see anything inappropriate though.
No, like tubing, zooming.
No,
kind of.
Okay. No. I saw somebody showed a Zoom meeting where somebody was like having sex during the Zoom meeting. Did you see that on Twitter? Did they feed that to you?
I thought that was during like a Twitch stream or something.
Oh, I don't know. I saw it. I was like, is this, really?
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
It makes sense. There should be more overlap probably with how many people have OnlyFans accounts. Like, you would start streaming to something accidentally. Work versus OnlyFans, vice versa. I don't know.
Have you thought about OnlyFans?
No.
Pretty good. Pretty lucrative, huh? Though, for some people.
For some people, but so many of the people like end up killing themselves or killing their significant other. Like, every week I see a story about an OnlyFans model who's like offed herself or her boyfriend. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, so OnlyFans creates suicidal ideations?
I mean, I think you have to be in a certain type of position to even open an OnlyFans account and expose yourself in that way. And I think, whatever demons are encouraging you to do that, just get fed as you're doing it. And, it brings out the worst in people, is my bet. No shame or judgment, but kind of.
Moloch, basically.
Yeah, maybe a little Moloch.
You're kind of like sacrificing yourself to Moloch.
Yeah, part of yourself, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah, I would show my feet if people wanted to pay for it.
Do you have like really nice feet, or just if they had a specific fetish for your feet?
Yeah, I know some people are just into feet, Would you show your feet for money?
Probably.
Yeah. See, it doesn't seem that weird, but some people, they find that very some people find that to be a very it's as exposing, it's like exposing your private parts, exposing your feet to some people.
To weird people, that's like totally not the same thing. What about
some
sandals?
Some people are into feet.
Yeah.
Some people are. Sure.
I guess, okay, if you look at it from that perspective of, if you show your feet, it's sexually gratifying someone, then maybe, okay. I probably wouldn't.
You wouldn't even, okay, right.
But I'm more tempted by that idea than any other idea.
Yeah, right. Just doesn't seem that hard, right?
Yeah.
All you have to do is get famous for something, and then you have to expose yourself for money, and then Like, but first you have to get kind of famous for something.
Hmm.
Then you can charge people to see you in private, like your private areas, including your feet.
Is that your plan?
I don't
Sounds like
know.
you have it game planned out.
I don't know what my plan is, to be honest with you. I don't know. What are you drinking tonight?
This is gin and gin water and watermelon something.
Wow, that sounds good. Gin and gin.
Like the ginger beer, sorry, like a ginger water type of thing, and gin and watermelon.
Cool. That's cool. So, do you want to talk about the news?
Yeah.
All right. I was going to show you this thing that was in my Twitter feed about why it's hard to wake up people. You want to see that? We'll talk about the Trump news and stuff. Okay. This is just an interesting video from Twitter about why it's hard to wake people up. Okay. So it's thought provoking. I'm going to play it. It has only 89,000 views, but it was served up to me by Twitter.
How can I wake up my friends and family? So I'm going to answer this question that I get all the time, and it's an answer that sometimes people don't like to hear, but I'm going to explain why I think it's true. So in evolutionary astrology, way back in the 90s, when a guy named Jeffrey Wolf Green founded this type of astrology, which is the type of astrology that I practice, he stated that 70% of the population lives in a consensus state, which is basically a herd mentality. So these are the literal NPCs of the world. So they don't form independent thought. When they want to know what their opinions are on certain topics, they just look to the external world. So these kinds of people will tend to get the most offended when you present them certain views that go outside of their paradigm, because their beliefs actually represent unconscious security needs. So they unconsciously gain security in trusting the mainstream media, celebrities, the experts, the government. They basically can't really think for themselves, so they seek security in outsourcing their opinions to the outer world. And moving from this consensus herd mentality to the next stage, which is an individuated state, is actually often a traumatic process, because instead of trusting the external world like you always have, the government, the authorities, you actually have to learn how to trust self as an inner guidance system instead. And in order to do that, you actually have to decondition and undo a lot of what you thought was true about yourself and the world in the process. So this is a really alienating and lonely process by design, because in order to discover who you are, you actually have to separate from the herd to begin with. And the thing is, you can't actually force people out of this state. It has to come from an inner calling. So it has to come from them realizing that there is something different inside of them that can't be explained by the experts, science, celebrities, government. And in my view, it really takes a certain ripeness of the soul to even want to go down that path, because it's not easy. Most people will actually...
She got cut off because of the limits of Twitter.
Yeah, TikTok video on Twitter, but still a good TikTok video.
Yeah, pretty good, right? Pretty solid.
Yeah, I feel bad for everyone who stopped listening to her as soon as she mentioned evolutionary astrology and went on to that side tangent. But the message is really good. I think it describes what I know a lot of us went through in terms of the process of like individuating yourself from the herd mentality, from the mainstream narrative, from the overarching paradigm. It is traumatic and very difficult and isolating and all those things. Did you feel that through your process?
My process was disorienting, certainly. When I found out about like 9/11 and I finally like looked into it and everything, then I was like, wow, I can't believe they could do that. And then I thought, what else can they do? And I thought, wow, this really shakes the foundation of what I believe is possible.
Right.
Not. So I do remember that. And it was something where I certainly had to be brought out of it myself, because people had tried to tell me about 9/11 before, and I had said that they were crazy.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, correct. I was a conspiracy denier mostly, like I thought conspiracy theories were kind of crazy and stupid until I looked into it. Like I was reading Zero Hedge, and Zero Hedge shared a video of architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth. And I saw that, and I was convinced. That was even though I'd seen Loose Change way back in 2003 or whatever it was. And when I saw Loose Change, I thought, whoa. And I thought, that something was up. And then I read Popular Mechanics where they debunked it, right? Famously. And I believed the debunking. So then I was back asleep. So I saw Loose Change. Somebody shared it with me. I watched it. I thought it was amazing. And then I was convinced by the debunkers. Yeah.
They're nefarious, the debunkers. They've really come out in full force over the past couple of years.
Yeah. Now debunking is like an art, or or it's not an art. It's a scheme.
Yeah. It's a whole industry, really.
It's an industry.
Yeah.
Debunking. I had an article about how pre-bunking is showing promise.
Pre-bunking.
A study. Yeah. Teaching people how to discern better. It has short-term benefits, they've shown. So if you show somebody a video that shows them how to think critically about something and shows them what disinformation supposedly, see, this is the thing though. Who knows what they're using as disinformation, right? They might say Ukrainian biolabs is disinformation. Or they might say, I'm trying to think of something else that they would say is disinformation. Or they might talk about something debunking like global warming. And they'll say that's some kind of disinformation. Who knows? But whatever it was, I read this article. It said pre-bunking shows promise, which I agree with. I believe actually that if I was teaching schools, you would want to teach kids how to think rather than necessarily giving them information, because there's information everywhere. You have to teach them how to consume information and how to know what real information is and what fake information is. And that's the most important thing I think you can teach people, because the information is out there, where all the information is available. You just have to learn to understand what information is good information and what information is bad information.
I kind of agree. I kind of disagree.
Okay.
I don't like when the idea of like discernment gets brought up as something that can be taught by others.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? You can't learn discernment? I would think you could. I try to impart to my audience ways to discern things.
Yeah, I think
I feel like some of them have gotten better after watching the show.
I think there's a difference between teaching people like a strategy to employ on, you see a news story, what questions do you ask? What connections do you see? Like stuff like that. You can give people methodologies to question what they're given. But like discernment to me is a totally separate thing. That's like something they're trying to co-opt and make it something that you can be taught and programmed to do. But that's like a personal inner knowledge type of dealio that I don't think once you get into a situation where institutions are trying to tell you how to discern, I don't like that.
Yeah, right. Well, institutions are always dangerous, right? Because it centralizes power.
Yes.
However, people listen to figures of authority, and people do become leaders, and people follow leaders, and people, whoever that might be.
Or just the image of a leader. And that's one of the things, like if we were really taught how to ask questions, we would be wondering like, well, what gives, someone like Fauci, for example, the authority to tell me what to do? Like if we were really taught how to think, we'd be like, well, what is his track record? Like who is funding him? Like, you know what I mean? Like we would know what questions to ask. And we would at the end of the day be able to decide based on our own individual discernment whether or not we trust this motherfucker.
You can't say you're saying we couldn't teach kids that in school?
No, we can. We can teach them how to ask questions. I just think discernment is something different. That if we try to control how someone individually like sees things, it's too much of a risk to make it something that we teach.
Interesting. You have interesting thoughts. Okay. Well, that's cool. I think we could teach it. Can you explain this? Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Sometimes I see things on Twitter that are like racial. And sometimes like libs of TikTok shares things that are racial. Can you explain this? This is frolicking in the rain is now racist. Okay. So check this out. Just tell me like why. I don't understand it actually. Okay. White girl frolicking in the rain. Okay.
You and I both know that you are capable of enjoying the rain and frolicking freely without filming it and then posting it to TikTok. Now, you've just co-signed, okay? You just co-signed at least 3 million, 8.5 by 11 front and back, people who just go out of their way to disrespect and dismiss the boundaries that Black creators have set. And now you're one of those people. So I guess my question would be, why? Why is it so important to all of you to treat us like we don't matter?
So what does that mean? Is that because Black people can't go out in the rain or something?
I think that's the immediate explanation people have been giving to it.
Okay.
But I think that what she's specifically talking about is that the thing Drew Barrymore is doing, which is frolicking in the rain,
It's
was
not, is it actually Drew Barrymore?
What do you mean? Yeah, it's Drew Barrymore.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. She looks like a normal person.
Yeah,
like Drew Barrymore is actually just kind of average looking, right? She doesn't, when you see her like in person or whatever, she doesn't look really like a movie star or anything anymore, right? She looks kind of like a normal person. That's all I'm saying.
I think she's beautiful and survived a lot of trauma.
Yeah, well, that makes people more beautiful, sure. But I mean, physically, she's just average, right? You're just not going to comment? Okay, I got it. But anyway, what's the matter? What's that lady all upset about?
I think what she's upset about is that a Black person was the first person on TikTok, apparently, to try to make frolicking in the rain a trend recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's what the origin story here is.
Oh, so she's co-opting?
She's accusing Drew Barrymore of co-opting something that Black creators. That's why she's like, you refuse to respect the boundaries that Black creators have set. Because there's some like sect of Black creators on TikTok who are very much like, this is a trend for Black people. And if you're not Black, like you can only support it by liking it or commenting it, but you better not replicate this dance move or this trend or whatever.
Interesting. So, it's kind of like in hip hop, how you're not supposed to bite people's rhymes. Is it kind of like that? Or am I being racist by saying?
No, you might be being racist, but I don't get the reference. Probably you're right. Yeah.
You know the Sugar Hill Gang? Did you watch? I just watched this whole history of hip hop series on Netflix. It's really good. Did you know the Sugar Hill Gang? Like one of the guys just stole his rhymes from somebody else.
That's not good.
Yeah, like one of the main rhymes in that song, they just picked up a few guys from a pizza shop in New Jersey and signed them and made a rap record. And the guys basically like stole their rhymes from New York MCs who didn't get any credit and stuff for it.
So. Yeah, that's not good. But that's not what Drew Barrymore is doing. The problem here is that TikTok, like everyone on TikTok is copying something. Like there's no original content on TikTok. So like leave Drew Barrymore alone, you know?
Yeah, right. I agree. Well, I don't even know. I don't even know if I agree. I don't even know what's happening. I don't even know. I don't even know if you're correct in saying your explanation for it or if it's a different explanation.
If it's a different explanation, okay, so let's say it's because Black people can't go in the rain. That in itself is racist because Black people can go in the rain if they want to. Not all Black people vanish from the rain because their hair is going to get messed up.
Is it not bad to go in the rain, like with your hair? It's not worse than for white people.
I don't know. I think it would vary depending on your type of hair across the spectrum of racial categories. The rain thing only applies to people who have like a perm type of treatment in the hair or a weave or something, or they can't get it wet.
Right. A weave. Right. Interesting. All right. Well, that's cool. Let's see. This is another thought-provoking video that has to do with where you can comment on it because you're a female, as far as I know. Although that might be assuming.
I am a woman.
You were born female, at least. Listen to what this female says. This was shared by Cernovich on Twitter. Let's see.
Society takes away the consequence for everything women do. Like, we have no consequences for anything. If we sleep around, we don't get pregnant because of birth control. Even if we do get pregnant, we have abortion. Even if we do get pregnant and keep the kid, he pays child support. Even if we do get pregnant, get married, get divorced, we get alimony or child support again.
Yeah.
And it's like, even if we're bad with our finances and we're homeless, there's women's shelters.
Mm-hmm.
Society takes away the consequence for every.
What do you think of that?
I mean, I think that, yeah, you can hide the consequence of certain actions, like of being a whore and having abortions, but you can't like escape that. Like, that's a debt that you've accrued, period. And it's gross.
Right. Even if you can make up for it financially somehow, it's still a debt accrued, as you call it.
Yeah.
And you say it's gross.
Yeah. Sexual promiscuity and abortions are disgusting.
Right. I got it. Well, you said it. Okay. Well, but and you say there are consequences.
Yeah. I mean, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, right? Like, if you're a woman and your body count is like in the double digits and you're not married and you have no, you know that means, right?
I understand. Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I know the Gen Xers sometimes. Yeah. That's an issue. It's an issue with women, and I don't respect it, and I have very strong feelings on it.
All right. But you could be a whore, and then you can change, right?
Yeah.
So, like that so-called body count, it's not like you can't recover from that. Let's say, if somebody changed their ways, right?
Sure, you can change your ways, but you can't take back what you did.
Really?
No. You did what you did. You had the standards when you had them, and you can forgive yourself and you can get forgiveness from God from that. But like, you know, there's no reset clock. What she's saying, I don't agree with. Like, it happens still.
I see. Okay.
Sorry, I'm judgmental about this just because I've been celibate for so long and I can't.
I see. Right.
So these combos.
So you might be right. So you might have, there might be certain things motivating what you're saying. For example,
my personal lived experience and choices.
Experience and choices, right? You're an incel then, or
incel means involuntary celibate. You know that,
right? So you're a vol cell.
I'm more like a vol cell.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what they all say.
Well, sure, they might.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure people are very interested. So I'm sure it is voluntary. It's easier for it to be voluntary for females, certainly. Yeah. And
the pool out there is just so like sketchy. I wouldn't want to dip my toe in at this point without like a background check. It's not with the monkeypox and the COVID symptoms, quote unquote. No.
Are you afraid of catching something from somebody who's vaccinated?
Oh yeah, no vaxxed men are allowed near me like that. I refuse to date a vaccinated person. Sorry, everybody.
Most people are vaccinated.
Yeah, which is good. It like narrows down, the options.
Right.
So
it's like a self-selecting pool.
Right.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, well, I have some other news. Let's see. We covered some interesting things. Women's March is, going all out in favor of trans women being women, right? Women's March is controversial because they accept trans women as being women, right? And some people say that trans women are actually men. Some people say that, believe it or not. So the thing that I found interesting, So the thing that I found interesting about it is they say trans men are still also women. So it's weird because they say, oh, yeah, somebody commented, oh, what about trans men? And they're like, oh, yeah, definitely trans men are still considered women because they still suffer from misogyny from people who think they're women.
No.
That's what it said in this comment. So I thought to myself, well, that's contradiction for them to say trans women are women, but then trans men are women too, because they are, and they can still get pregnant and stuff, and have abortions, which is the most important thing.
Yeah. Can you have an abortion? That's what makes you a
Can
woman
you?
or not.
Right.
It's easy enough.
Yeah. Are
I've-
you capable of having an abortion?
I don't know if this is related to the Women's March, but I've seen a lot of sentiment, and maybe this is just because I follow J.K. Rowling on Twitter, but I get a lot of like people advertised to me now to follow who are like detransitioning trans people, usually like women who became men who were like, oh my God, what was I doing? And went back. And a lot of their talking points have been about, you know, LGB, fine, but like the T and beyond, what the fuck is this? This is like white men still trying to like wreak havoc. This is still the patriarchy. So it's taking an interesting kind of twist. I feel bad for a lot of these people though.
Yeah.
Fucked up.
It is fucked up. Yeah, no, that's what I agree with that too. Like, I agree that LGB is way different than everything that comes afterwards. Like, everything that comes afterwards has nothing to do with who you're sexually attracted to, really. But I mean, right, trans, you can be trans but still attracted to whichever gender. And you can certainly be non-binary and
Right.
not be attracted to whichever gender. So it has nothing to do with sexual attraction, where LGB actually does. Where it has to do with, oh, who are you sexually attracted to? Someone with a penis or someone with a vagina?
Right.
Yeah, or both.
Before the T, like the T is what introduced all of these, you know, mutilative cosmetic surgeries that aren't necessarily to help you like be who you are, but it's like more so to have sex and to kind of disguise your sexual organs as something that someone who you want to have sex with would be interested in. It's like,
yeah, it's weird.
That was my whole problem with it, is that it went from identification issue to like a body butchering issue. Like, why do you have to butcher your body to be who you are? Like, you are who you are. Like, let's work around that. Let's work with what we're given and go from there. So I feel bad for a lot of these women, especially like born women who have been sucked up into this agenda and are trying to figure out a way to like differentiate their voices within it and stop the bad elements from propagating.
Yeah, I know. It's a crazy world. Gays Against Groomers had to change their name to Gays Against Broomers.
Really?
Yeah, because they kept getting censored by Twitter for saying groomer. So they had to change their name. Now I think they just spelled groomer differently, like GREW. Groomer. Yeah,
it's weird, like the attack that they're doing against women and children. It's so obvious and out in the open. Like, they're making it easy. Like, every week now or every other day, I see like a story about some man who raped a woman or brutally beat up a woman or whatever, who, when he goes to jail, identifies as a woman. And the fact that lunacy is permitted in any capacity,
it's not funny.
It's not funny. It's not funny.
It's not funny. All right. Yeah, that's true. It's true. It is. It's fucked up. It's all fucked up. Yes.
This is a pivot, but Harlod in DLive really wants you to ask me how much money I got taken off of my student loans.
Oh, good question. Excellent. Okay. So how much money did you get taken off your student loans?
None yet, because I think you have to like actually apply for it to get it taken off.
And you are going to apply, right?
I don't know.
You have to. You have
Do
to.
I? I don't know.
Take it.
Take
Seriously.
the bribe.
Yeah, definitely. You have to take the money. Don't not take it. That's ridiculous. Everybody took their PPP loans.
I didn't. Did you get one?
No. Should have figured out a way with my business to get a PPP loan, but
I
didn't.
don't know. I think the IRS is coming after all those PPP people.
No, I don't think so. It's what that just happened. Had to print the money, had to distribute it as much as possible. So yeah, you're going to get 10 grand or
Yeah.
20.
If I apply, I'll get 10K.
Okay, cool.
Up.
Take it. I'm okay with it.
You're okay with it?
Yeah. Well, yes and no. They need to reform this system. So I disagree with the government giving out loans for college. That's all. If people want to loan money for colleges, then private institutions can go ahead and take the risk. But the government shouldn't be taking the risk. And if people can't afford to pay it back, and that's why they're forgiving it, then they shouldn't have given the loans in the first place. So if they were to reform the system now so that they didn't give the loans anymore, then I would definitely approve of them wiping out some of the loans. And that is what they're doing. I mean, they're not printing money exactly they're just not going to collect the money. The government just won't collect the money. And it might be in the amount of something like $300 or $400 billion.
Yeah.
Short.
The only reason I'm like, I don't want to take the money is because I do feel genuinely sorry for everyone who like got conned into paying their loans off. Like I've been paying the minimum amount on my loans the whole time. Since they froze it in 2020, I stopped paying it. Right. I don't really intend to ever pay it again. Like I was just expecting them to abolish it or get rid of it or whatever, like, or the economy to lose the dollar completely and then it would just disappear into the cloud. So I feel bad for those who are like actually mad about it. But it's not like they're giving me 10K. Like that's my thing. Like if they really want to bribe me, then give me 10K. But they're just taking off some zeros on an account that's not mine anyway. So whatever.
Yeah, but it is like giving you money. It is because it's money you don't have to pay.
Yeah.
How long was it going to take you to pay it off? Just making the minimum payments.
I don't know, a while.
Does it say on the bill? Does it say, oh, if you make the minimum payments, this is how long it'll take?
No, no. But I was paying like $350 every month.
Really?
Yeah, that's how much my federal loan was. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. That's so much.
Yeah, it's like a new car payment.
It is. It could be like a car.
Like a nice one.
A cheap car.
What? Sorry, whatever. I'll let it go.
What are you going to get for $350? Like a Honda Civic?
I don't know. I have an old car and the payment was like $90 something a month on that.
Oh,
my
really?
student loan was $350. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, well, it's money in your pocket. So it's good. Definitely apply for it. The White House was calling out people that were against the student loan relief because they got PPP loans. People like Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I saw that.
You see that the official White House account started tweeting out about Congress members who got PPP loans in huge dollar amounts. And actually, Tim Pool was calling out people. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Tim Pool was like, hey, how about all these people in conservative media who were taking PPP loans? Why were they doing that? I guess he didn't take one, and he certainly could have. I guess he decided not to take one, so he's trying to like rub it in. Meanwhile, he's got more money than whatever.
Yeah, clearly he does.
Well, because he's always bragging about spending money on stupid shit, like billboards in Times Square and stuff.
His music video. Did you watch his music video?
Did he make a music video too?
Oh, yeah, he did.
Why doesn't he spend his money like supporting independent content creators?
Because he's a shill. What do you mean?
I mean, whatever it cost him to do a freaking billboard in Times Square for chicken. Did he do a billboard for Chicken City or whatever?
I don't know.
Have you seen that channel he made?
I've heard of the channel with the chickens.
I've watched it.
Is it good?
If you like watching chickens run around a chicken coop, then sure.
I'm so annoyed by Tim Pool recently because he's been on the Civil War LARP for a really long time, talking about how there's a civil war coming to America, blah, 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 and encouraging other people to basically take up arms, like to take a stand against their employer if it comes to the mandates or whatever. But like sitting in his stupid little RV cubicle making music videos, like, what is this? I'm offended that they think that it's convincing, anything he says.
Right. Yeah, he's, whatever he's done it very successfully. So what can you do? And
Yeah.
he does at least work hard. I know that.
He does. And I watch the show. I watch his show, but
You do still?
I do, just because I feel like it's a good entry level, basic, what's in the news for the normies type of show. The awakening normies even. So I like to stay up to date. But
What do you think of Alex Stein on Tim Pool?
I thought it was an embarrassing appearance.
Really? For
did.
Tim Pool, or because Tim Pool said the moon landing was real and that was embarrassing?
Well, Tim Pool always says things I disagree with. I'm more so looking at how Alex Stein presented the moon landing situation case, and it was just badly done. And I felt embarrassed. He's really good at like performative activism or whatever. But like when you get him in a long form, I mean, maybe he's better when he's prepared to talk about things like the moon landing, but I thought it was a really bad demonstration.
Well, that's all right. He ended up, was he on Tim Pool after was it after the bit with AOC?
Yeah, it was like directly after the big booty Latina thing.
Yeah, that was the bit. Wow, it's amazing how one thing will really make you famous, you know? And that one thing, I mean, he was already, he had already done a bunch of other things that made him kind of famous, but the big booty Latina thing, stratospheric, crazy.
It is crazy.
That is crazy. Yeah. It's different. It's different. He's a different kind of person. Well, he really wanted to be famous.
You can tell.
Yeah, he really wanted that. So, and I wonder sometimes if, is that something that's required for you to become famous, for you to really want to be famous too?
Well, yeah. Yeah.
I guess so.
Because it affects what you're willing to do, right? Like if being famous is your number one goal, you might be willing to do a lot more than someone who just wants to like spread the truth or be funny or whatever. If you want to be known, you're going to do stuff that makes people remember you. So.
Right. Let's see what else I have. We didn't talk much about the FBI documents. We'll take, Hoax Wars had a theory, but he didn't bring it up on the show that Donald Trump intentionally got himself raided by the FBI. So, yeah, I titled the stream yesterday, did Trump set up the Mar-a-Lago raid on purpose? And then featuring Hoax Wars, but he told me to change the title because he said he had fleshed out that conspiracy theory.
Okay.
But here's the story. Trump used the Mar-a-Lago raid to fire up supporters, raising up to $1 million a day in donations, says a report. And that's true. But however, since the Mar-a-Lago raid, he is no longer favored in betting odds to win, to be the Republican presidential nominee. Ron DeSantis is now favored. So I haven't gambled on DeSantis yet. I've thought about it. I don't know whether to buy. You can bet against Donald Trump. You can just bet that it won't be Donald Trump. And right now, that's 68 cents on the dollar to buy no Donald Trump. And then Ron DeSantis is leading 36 cents for Ron DeSantis, 32 cents for Donald Trump. And then Nikki Haley and Mike Pence are coming up in third and fourth. I put some money on Glenn Youngkin just because I won some money on him in Virginia. And I thought maybe he had a chance, but I'm not sure if that was a good bet anymore.
Yeah.
But it's cheap. He's only 4 cents.
Yeah, like a shit coin.
It's like a shit coin. Yeah. It's like
hope it moons. Yeah.
Yeah, right. It could moon, right? It could go to 100.
It'll probably moon for like a week. Like he'll have a really good week during some sort of like debate season. And
that could happen, and then I could cash out.
Right. Right. But yeah, he's not going to be president.
You don't think so? Do you like Ron DeSantis?
No.
Do you like that he said that you should take Fauci? He said about Fauci that you should take that little elf and chuck him across the Potomac. Did you like it when he said that?
I think it's a funny line. Yeah.
I mean, come on. Ron DeSantis does have something going for him. First of all, he's younger. He's more like my age, I think. Do you know how old he is?
No, I don't.
I think he's closer to my age. He's probably like Gen X.
No, I need to look.
But even though you claim that I'm an old millennial, I
You're
don't
like the
think
first year of millennial, but it's okay.
that's what you claim. 78,
Yeah.
really? Well, so you claim that I'm an old millennial, but I think Ron DeSantis is Generation X. He's younger. He's more opposed to the vaccine. He's more opposed to Fauci. Donald Trump didn't fire Fauci. And so I support, but he is in the pocket of Israel. So that's the one thing against him.
Oh, the one thing.
And he might be a secret like fascist. He may really genuinely kind of have fascist tendencies. So that's possible.
I
But
just checked.
it's just like fascism in the service of good, you know? Like for example, this is what I mean by that, is he banned masks, right? Which really, if you're looking at it from like a libertarian point of view, maybe he shouldn't have had the authority to do that. And that if individual school districts wanted to do masks, then they should have been allowed to do that and not be ruled by like him as like a dictator, you know, even though it was the right thing to ban masks. The fact that he did it, and then he's banning books and stuff like that too. The fact that, you know, he is kind of authoritarian, right?
Yeah.
In the service of good, maybe most of the time, but however, it could go the other way, you know, possibly.
Easily.
Yeah.
Exactly. I just double checked. He's 2 months younger than you, actually, DeSantis.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and born in 78, which is
I just feel like, you know, he's younger, he's more energetic, he makes sense, he talks well. Trump is really old, genuinely.
Yeah. I don't disagree with those things. I just don't trust him. And I can't really articulate why, except, I mean, Florida itself, I've always disliked Florida. I think that it's a trap. And
Florida has a bunch of shady people. It's full of shady people.
It's like all shady people.
Yeah, mostly.
That's who moves to Florida.
Yeah, that's why you moved to Florida.
Exactly.
Because you want to do shady things.
Yeah. So he's like the leader of the people who do shady things. And, you know, like you said, he is well-spoken. He's in a good generational slot, that 78, that Gen X millennial cusp moment. He can relate to a lot of people. He sounds good. He's funny. He's quick. But, you know, he's also a politician. So you don't get to be the governor of Florida just by your good intention. And, you know,
I wonder how much it costs for Rand Paul. Rand Paul's not even on the list. You can't even bet on Rand Paul to be president. And he'd be the next best chance. You can't even get Rand Paul for 1 cent.
I like him because he got beat up by his neighbors, and that's like a real thing.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Anyone, those Pauls are good people. Rand Paul and then Ron Paul. Nobody's been good since Ron Paul, really. Nobody's been like revolutionary since Ron Paul.
Do you feel like DeSantis, if, you know, let's say DeSantis gets elected president, what does that look like in your opinion? Like, is that a good thing? Like, how would that be? How would that play out?
I don't know. I mean, presidents are so weird. What do they do anyway? I don't know. You'd maybe have pressure it's also going to be a few years from now. So the nation's priorities will be different then. But I don't know. He would like roll back some things about he wouldn't push transgender stuff as much. He would try to cut taxes, I guess, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, you have a good point. 2 years is a really long time from now. We really don't know.
Things could be totally different.
Yeah, they will be. We have 2 huge American eclipses next year in 2024 as well.
We have 2. Okay, we're talking about astrology.
Well, just the movement of the planets and stuff, right?
We have 2 huge what's?
Eclipses.
Solar eclipses, then? Is that why you're talking about it? Because lunar eclipses happen all the time.
Yeah.
2 huge solar
I believe they're both
eclipses.
solar eclipses, yeah. And the path that they make basically makes an X over Dallas, Texas, around there. One after the other, back to back.
So does that mean JFK Jr. is coming back?
I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some buzz in the next few months about that over the next couple of years. The JFK Jr. thing is not going away. We're going to still be talking about JFK and all the Kennedys.
Right.
But more so just, in terms of where the country is going to be overall by then. I really don't know. I think things are going to accelerate, and I think we're going to get into multiple wars, and it's going to be a buckle your seatbelt kind of thing. I hope everyone's in their life raft, ready to rumble.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. People have been predicting the end for a long time. People predict change. People predicted lots of things that never come to be. And somehow this reality just grinds along.
It has, but eventually we get to the last stop, and then things change and we have a new story. And I think we are blessed enough to be alive to witness that story. That's why we have a show right now. At least that's what I think. That we're watching something unfold that's really significant.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I wonder if you're right about that. I do believe, I mean, this is an apocalyptic show in ways, because I do believe that things will change. Mostly like because of economic collapse and empire collapse. And that kind of thing. But you believe something else, but not civil war.
I mean, I think there might be elements of civil war, elements of world war, elements of just total collapse. I think a lot's going to happen over the next few years that we've been ramping up for. I feel like the Leo King talks about this. We've been kind of like in a lobby. We've been seeing like what elements are coming into play, what's going to be upended for us. But the veil is going to get fucking ripped, and it's already being ripped off, and people are really seeing beyond it now. And as more and more people see what's beyond it, and as more and bigger things get revealed to us, it's going to change everything. And I am confident in that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You going to talk about it on your show tomorrow?
Yeah, we're going to touch on that tomorrow. I'm excited for the Sunday stream.
Did you, if you want to see Jelena's other channel, it's youtube.com/Jelena. Do you want to show this clip of Zuckerberg talking about the FBI? Do you care about this? I mean, people did talk about it.
No, I think this is a huge story.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So this had to do with Zuckerberg was on Rogan, and I listened to a lot of it. Did you listen to it?
I didn't. No, I saw the clips, but I didn't watch it.
Right. So I actually listened to most of it.
How do you?
And it's interesting. We'll talk about it. This has to do with the FBI influencing Facebook to censor, basically.
How do you guys handle things when they're a big news item that's controversial? Like there was a lot of attention on Twitter during the election because of the Hunter Biden laptop story. The New York
we
Post.
had that too.
Yeah, so you guys censored that as well?
So we took a different path than Twitter. I mean, basically the background here is the FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey, just so you know, like you should be on high alert. We thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. So just be vigilant. So our protocol is different from Twitter's. What Twitter did is they said you can't share this at all. We didn't do that. What we do is we have, if something is reported to us as potentially misinformation, important misinformation, we also have this third-party fact-checking program because we don't want to be deciding what's true and false. And for I think it was 5 or 7 days when it was basically being determined whether it was false, the distribution on Facebook was decreased, but people were still allowed to share it. So you could still share it, you could still consume it.
So when you say the distribution is decreased,
it got shared.
How does that work?
It basically, the ranking in newsfeed was a little bit less. So fewer people saw it than would have otherwise. So it definitely.
By what percentage?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it's meaningful. But I mean, basically a lot of people were still able to share it. We got a lot of complaints that was the case. Obviously this is a hyper political issue. So depending on what side of the political spectrum, you either think we didn't censor it enough or censored it way too much. But we weren't sort of as black and white about it as Twitter. We just kind of thought hey, look, if the FBI, which I still view as a legitimate institution in this country, it's like very professional law enforcement, if they come to us and tell us that we need to be on guard about something, then I want to take that seriously.
Did they specifically say you need to be on guard about that story?
No, I don't remember if it was that specifically, but it basically fit the pattern.
There you go. What's so funny?
I'm laughing because Mark Zuckerberg, when he's explaining this to Joe Rogan, sounds like me at work when I'm trying to explain to my manager something that I fucked up on, and I'm like couching it and like, well, there was an impact. It was significant, but it was, with the FBI fucking told me to, you know what I mean? Like we blame it. We pass the hot potato to someone else. Like it's that person's fault. It's that department's issue.
Right.
But the fact that he just admitted that the FBI basically came to his team and said, hey, you're going to have to censor some shit coming up. That's huge. Like it's something that we've all known and basically, but to hear him say it is huge.
Yeah. Yeah. I am curious how much the US government has to do with censorship in general, including on YouTube.
The branches of it, the FBI. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, whether it's the FBI or the CDC,
right,
telling people what they're allowed to say, on Twitter or on YouTube. I think the government is probably involved a lot more than we think. So, and he acted like it's no big deal. But the other thing he talked about, I'm just curious what your opinion is. Facebook, Meta, they're talking about the metaverse and they're all invested in it like it's going to be the future. And in the future envisioned by Zuck, and he talked about it a lot on the show. That's like most of the beginning of the show is talking about VR basically. And they have a new headset coming out and they want to make people feel closer together. They want to make people feel closer together by putting them in VR goggles and having them hang out together in virtual reality. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you think, and they're betting everything on it, pretty much like the whole future of Facebook, as far as I can tell. And this is why I would think about shorting Facebook stock, because I just think maybe it's going to be the most colossal failure in the history of anything, but I'm not sure. But basically their whole future depends on whether people are going to embrace hanging out with each other with virtual reality glasses on. Do you think that people are going to do that or not?
I think it depends on the choices you've made in your life, right? I think there's going to be an opportunity where VR connections, like having the headset on and feeling like you're in a group of people, even though you're like in your pajamas in your bedroom, is going to be like a great, perfect, wonderful, preferable, let's do this option for a lot of people who, never left the cities and never went out and built community and family for themselves. And that might be the majority of people. I don't know how many people that is, but I think that there's going to be an equally strong contingent of people that are like, fuck that. I'm not doing that. There's no way. I don't know how big that contingent is either. I think we're going to see that play out. My question isn't so much, is it going to happen, but like, how big is the adoption going to be on it?
Yeah, I'm curious. They're apparently coming out with a new headset. Apparently it's good. I don't know. I've never really used VR. I used some early experimental versions of virtual reality when I was in college because I went to Carnegie Mellon and they had some, crazy advanced stuff at the time.
Right.
But I haven't messed with it since then. Some people say it's disorienting. Some people say it's cool. I can imagine how it might be cool. It could be.
It feels like just a natural extension of what they're already doing with like remote work from home jobs.
Right.
Like they've already got us into a position where we don't really want to go outside if we don't have to.
Right.
So for those who don't have a reason, who don't have like a real solid community in person or real life things to do, it's going to seem obvious and like a good thing.
Right. Maybe. So maybe it will work. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Facebook or Meta now is just going to fail and be one of the biggest failures in the history of companies.
I hope so.
Or they might be because they might have it wrong, like what people are willing to do. Because 3D technology, for example, remember when every movie was 3D?
Mm-hmm.
It didn't really catch on. and it was better. I mean, the 3D is amazing. When I first saw Avatar in 3D, I thought, oh, I want to watch everything in 3D. But then there were a bunch of 3D movies, and I got a 3D TV, and I watched Wimbledon in 3D, believe it or not.
Did it really work though?
Yeah, it worked. Yeah, it's amazing, but people aren't willing to do it. People just prefer to deal with 2-dimensional, and now movies are all 2D now and nobody does 3D. So, although Avatar will probably be 3D again because Cameron said he was really into 3D movies.
I love Avatar.
Yeah. Did you like it?
Well, I only saw the first one.
Yeah, I know. The second one hasn't come out yet, right?
Oh, okay.
I think it's going to. Yeah.
It's a vibe.
It's a vibe, right? All right. I think we've done a lot of show already. We can maybe take a phone call or two on Rockfin. Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
Does that sound good? All right. Thanks, YouTube. If you want to support the show, go to my t-shirt shop at truthclothing.io. Truthclothing.io. Pick up like a propaganda shirt or Truth Matters. Truthclothing.io. To support Jelena, go to jelena.net or go to Rockfin, which is where we're going to go now. Rockfin.com/lifttheveil. And you can donate there with the pay service thing. Like you can tip there. All right. So that's it on YouTube. I'm going to end the stream and go to Rockfin, ROKFIN.com/lifttheveil and take some phone calls. Okay. Thanks everybody. Good seeing you. And we'll see you at the next one. And for YouTubers, I don't do every show on YouTube. So if you want to catch all the shows, follow me on Rockfin, ROKFIN.com/lifttheveil, or go to my Substack, lifttheveil.substack.com. Become a subscriber and you'll get an update for everything, like this podcast, for example. So thanks everybody on YouTube, and we'll go over to Rockfin and open the phone. And that is what it is. Okay, got it.